Here is my top 10 list of books from 2025. Now, before I get to the list, I should probably qualify this by saying that I read books for three main reasons: to be a better business owner, to be a better citizen, and to be a better person. This year, the better person and better citizen categories got a lot of attention. You're going to see why. Here's the top 10 list. Number 10, The Algebra of Happiness by Scott Galloway. Now, I got to read two of Scott's books this year. This one and The Algebra of Wealth. The Wealth book, I wish I'd read that probably in my 20s. It would have saved me years of financial mistakes. But the Happiness book, I think, is the one that I really needed to read right now. It gave me some hope during some pretty dark times that I had this past year. Now, here's why I love Scott Galloway. He is what I think to be probably the most effective antidote to bro culture bullshit like Andrew Tate. If more young men read Scott's books instead of watching Andrew's TikTok flexes, I think women might have a far different and more positive view of men in general. Scott writes from the wisdom of somebody who's made money and lost it, built relationships and lost them, rebuilt them both, and I think he's actually learned something along the way. He's honest about his failures, he's down to earth about what actually matters, and he doesn't pretend that success fixes everything. If you're in a season where the wins don't feel like wins anymore, this book might be exactly what you need. Number 9, Separation of Church and Hate by John Fugelsang. This one might surprise a few people because I'm not a religious person, but maybe one of the reasons why I'm not religious is because, frankly, I see so much hypocrisy in the faith that I was raised with. This book provides powerful rebuttals to self-righteous religious followers who have turned the teachings of Christ into reasons to hate and discriminate. Fugelsang walks through scripture with the precision of a scholar and a stand-up comic, which makes sense because he is both. If you've ever been frustrated by somebody using the Bible to justify cruelty, this book arms you with the actual teachings they conveniently ignore. This book is not, by the way, anti-Christian, but it is anti-hypocrisy. And I think we could use a lot more of that in our culture right now. Number 8, The 8 Paradoxes of Great Leadership by Tim Elmore. I love paradoxes in general. There's something about holding two opposing thoughts in one's mind simultaneously that feels more honest than pretending life is simple. So when somebody can apply that thinking to business leadership, I'm all in. Elmore breaks down 8 tensions every leader must balance. Things like confidence and humility, vision and blind spots, high standards and gracious forgiveness. And the beauty of this book is that it doesn't pretend that you can resolve all of these tensions either. You've got to live with them. Now, what really got me were his comparison charts at the end of each chapter that show how both sides of each paradox work together rather than against one another. If you've ever felt torn between the competing demands as a leader, this book validates that struggle and shows you how to navigate it effectively. Number 7, Just Listen by Mark Goulston. Most communication books focus on what to say. This one focuses on what not to say and how to find those hidden messages in what people say by learning how to listen powerfully. Goulston is a psychiatrist who has talked people off of the ledge, literally. He's negotiated hostage situations, and he's taken everything that he's learned from those high-stakes moments and he's distilled it into practical techniques that anybody can use. What I loved most is that this book isn't about manipulation or clever tricks. It's about genuinely understanding people so deeply that they feel heard, and maybe even for the first time. And when people feel heard, everything changes. Resistance drops, walls comes down, real conversation becomes possible, which is crucial for my number 1 book. Stay tuned. All right, number 6, What You Do Is Who You Are by Ben Horowitz. Ben made my top 10 last year with The Hard Things About Hard Things. And just like that book, this one tells it like it is, but specifically in the area of how leaders create culture. Here's what I appreciate about Ben. He does not give you fluffy advice about putting mission statements on walls. He shows you that culture is defined by hard decisions that you make, especially when nobody's watching. He draws lessons from sources that you would never expect, like the Haitian revolutionary, and I hope I say their name correctly, Toussaint Louverture, samurai warriors like Shaka Senghor, and even Genghis Khan. And he uses all of these people to illustrate how culture is built through action, not through words. If you're a business owner struggling to figure out why your team doesn't act the way you want them to, this book could show you the mirror. As he says in the book, culture isn't what you say, it's what you tolerate. All right, we're in the top half. Here we go. Number 5, A Return to Common Sense by Leigh McGowan. Ever since the 2016 election cycle, I've noticed how bad humans can be when they disagree with other political ideologies. I see it in my family. I see it with my friends, I see it at work, and it breaks my heart to watch so many good people hating other good people just because they have different political views. And listen, political discourse has been around forever, right? But the tone changed in 2016, and no, I am not blaming Trump. He didn't invent hostile politics, although I think he probably perfected it. This book isn't about picking a side, it's about finding the common ground that we've lost. McGowan, who you might know as Politics Girl on social media, walks through the issues that divide us and shows how much we actually can agree when we strip away that tribal warfare that we've all kind of succumbed to. If you're exhausted by the rage and looking for a way to have actual conversations with people that you disagree with, this book could be a lifeline. Yes, she's a liberal, so most conservatives will immediately discount her for her opinions. But for the open-minded conservatives, and yes, there are a lot of them out there, this book could really give you some powerful insights as well. Number 4, Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. My favorite part of business is serving customers. Always has been. So it makes sense that I'd love this book. But it made customer experience feel more real to me in a way that no other book has. Coleman breaks down the customer journey into 8 distinct phases, from the moment somebody becomes aware of you all the way through to them becoming an advocate for your business. And he shows exactly where most businesses drop the ball, which is usually right after they get the sale. Here's the insight, by the way, that stuck with me. The first 100 days of a customer relationship will determine whether they become a lifelong fan or quietly disappear into the night. Most businesses obsess over getting new customers and completely neglect the ones that they already have. This book shows you how to fix that. Number 3, The Well-Spoken Thesaurus by Tom Heehler. Don't let that book title fool you. I picked up this book expecting a bunch of synonyms and alternatives for the word said, fancier ways to say very, and the kind of reference that you would maybe just keep on a shelf and ultimately forget about. Then I started reading. The first several chapters, they're not a thesaurus at all. They're a masterclass. Heehler takes passages from people like Hemingway, Steinbeck, E.B. White, Cormac McCarthy, writers whose sentences somehow feel different than normal writers, and he dissects them. He shows you exactly why they work, and then he teaches you how to do it yourself. He also covers what he calls the 7 rhetorical sins: melodrama, needlessness, cliche, pretension, craftiness, perkiness, and wordiness. Reading that list made me wince at my own writing more than once. Now, for me, as somebody who makes his living with words, this book made me look hard at how I write, how I speak, and how I can make every word land exactly where I want it. Still a work in progress on that one, by the way. Number 2, Leadership on the Line by Ronald Heifetz and Marty Linsky. Now, I need to get personal here on this one. Ever since running for public office back in 2019, I have been struggling with my mental health. The vitriol, the lies, those personal attacks, I internalized all of it. It made me want to crawl into a cave and never come out. I started questioning whether trying to make a difference in the world was even worth the cost. This book gave me hope that I might someday be able to come out of that cave that I've been hiding in. Heifetz and Linsky write about the dangers of leadership, real dangers, not metaphorical ones. They explain why people who try to change become targets, why organizations resist transformation, and most importantly, how to survive it without losing yourself in the process. If you've ever been burned for sticking your neck out, this book could help you understand what happened and maybe just give you the courage to try again. I know it's planted that seed for me. Now, before I get to my number 1 book, the one that outshined all other, can't remember, 75 some plus books that I read this year, I want to say that if you enjoy this review, I think you'd really benefit from subscribing to my channel. Every week, I release a business book review so that you'll never be short of a good read, or in some cases, not have to waste time reading a bad book. And if you'd like me to create a personalized top 10 list of business books for you, check out my business book scorecard. It's a quick questionnaire that takes only a few minutes. And at the end, I'm going to give you a top 10 list of the best books for you based upon where you're at in the entrepreneurial journey. The reality is any book can be a 5-star book if you read it at the right time. So why waste time reading books that might not apply to where you are? I've already read through well over 500 business books to save you time. The link for the scorecard is in the description of this video. All right, finally, my number one book of 2025, The Next Conversation by Jefferson Fisher. Listen, I'm on a mission to get people to stop throwing their words around like pigeon feed, just tossing them out there without any thought about where they land or who picks them up. This book doesn't just support my mission, it can make it a reality for anybody who responds too quickly when they disagree with someone. Jefferson Fisher is a trial lawyer who spent his career learning how to argue effectively. But the book isn't about winning arguments, it's about transforming them. It's about that moment when you feel the heat rising and you want to fire back. And instead, you pause. You choose your words. You turn a potential explosion into an actual conversation. What I love about Fisher's approach is that it's not just about being passive or avoiding conflict. It's about being intentionally strategic. It's about recognizing that every conversation is either building a relationship or destroying one. And you get to choose which one of those you're doing. If you've ever said something in anger that you've regretted, if you've ever watched a conversation spiral out of control and wondered how it even happened, if you've ever wished that you could hit rewind and try again, this book is your guide to getting it right for the next conversation. And here's the thing, we all have a next conversation coming with a spouse, with a colleague, maybe a family member that we disagree with. This book prepares you for that moment. So there you have it, my top 10 books of 2025. What do you think? Did I miss a book? Let me know in the comments what books you enjoyed this year so we can all benefit. You know, some of these books that made the list, they came directly from people just like you recommending their favorites inside my book reviews. If you enjoy these reviews, by the way, I would be honored if you'd hit the like button and subscribe so that when I release another book, you're going to be the first to know. Until that next review, let's both try a little harder to be a little better.